Congratulations on winning AOPA's 2020 RV-10 Sweepstakes aircraft. It's the first sweepstakes airplane AOPA has ever given away in the experimental category. And this thing has gone from a caterpillar to a butterfly. Before you fly it, I'm just going to walk you around it. You may wonder where this OMG comes from in the N number, the 260 OMG. Well, it's got 260 horsepower in this Lycoming IO 540 up front. And when I told somebody on the staff that, their reaction was, oh my goodness. So 260 horsepower, OMG. That's where it comes from. Airplane's got the engine and the airframe have about 700 hours total time on them. And we've had in the oil analysis and the compression tests and everything else, and that engine is just in the prime of its life. So we really haven't done anything other than put new unison magnetos on it, but it runs like a top. In the very front, you'll see this MTB9 3-blade propeller, and it just came back from DeLand, Florida, where MT USA is based, and these blades were reconditioned. Frankly, I can't tell them apart from brand new. I mean, they were nicked and scratched with peeling paint from from the hard life that it had up in Canada and flying off of gravel airstrips. But now these things they look brand new, and the Governor, it is brand new. They were thinking about overhauling the Governor, but they just thought, hey, let's just go all out. Let's just make it brand new. So the Governor is brand new. The prop hub has been completely overhauled. Frankly, it ran great before. It runs perfect now. I mean, it's nice and smooth, power, quiet, fantastic up front. When you fly the airplane, you'll see that it's got this free castering nose wheel. It can really turn tight. It's like a tail wheel airplane. It can just pivot on the ground. Very tight turning radius. Let's see, it's got 60 gallons of fuel in the wings, 30 gallons on each side. That's good enough for 4.5 hours range. Up high where I like to fly economy cruise, you typically see about 12 gallons an hour. So you can easily do 4 hours plus reserves. These big sort of gull doors and easy access in and out. When you go inside, you'll see those advanced flight systems panels, and 3 big screens to look at. We've got the 12-inch MFD in the middle, 2 10-inch PFDs on the side, and the sort of brain of the system is an Avidyne 550. And it supplies the data and the information that are displayed on those big bright screens. And took reading the book to figure out how to operate that Avidyne. But once you're comfortable with it, like I've become, it's really second nature. At the bottom of the center stack, you'll see it's a little white thing to put your finger in. It's a pulse oximeter, and every 30 minutes the airplane reminds you that it's like, hey, check your blood alcohol, check your blood oxygen level. Excuse me. And it gives you your heartbeat and your blood saturation every 30 minutes during flight. This airplane has a ceiling of 20,000 feet, which is kind of amazing for a normally aspirated airplane. But it's going cross country. Its best altitudes are pretty high. It's like 12,000 feet, 10,000 feet. The upper non-oxygen altitudes is where I typically fly it. And it's just got terrific speed and economy there. It's typically around 12 to 13 gallons an hour of fuel consumption and about 168 knots true airspeed. When you look in the back seats, you'll see that the seat, it's kind of a 60-40 arrangement where the back seat on the right behind the co-pilot is a bigger seat. And it's kind of the best seat in the house in a lot of ways. The back seats in this airplane are tremendously roomy and comfortable. And up front, you'll find the interior, this leather interior. It was all done by SF Sport Aviation, South Florida Sport Aviation, and they just did a tremendous job. The panel, it's all carbon fiber. You see that Aerosport products from Ohio did that. Really nice layout. And the the throttle quadrant, you can see how it's kind of far back. It's right on. You'll have your arm on the armrest, and your hand feels like it's right by your hip pocket when you're operating the throttle quadrant. And I was kind of concerned about that at first. I was thinking, boy, it doesn't seem. Is that going to seem natural? But it's a terrific position. It's very comfortable, and I love flying it that way. Terrific situational awareness from the avionics. You've got onboard weather, traffic, terrain, and a really capable autopilot with really three-dimensional. It'll capture altitudes. It'll descend on on an approach. I mean, it really flies the airplane nicely. My favorite part is the end number. A lot of people, not everybody's favorite part, but the story behind it, 260 horsepower. Oh my goodness. You'll see that the tail is just is full of these just big control surfaces. This elevator is huge, got a counterweight on it, very light when you're, it's push rod controls, nice and light and well balanced. Big electrically actuated trim tabs on the side, and wheeling lights throughout, LED strobes, and this tail light. It just lights up the night sky when you turn them on. Not much to say about GPS and ELT antennas, except for they're brand new equipment, and it's got a 406 ELT, so you're totally good flying across borders to Canada or Mexico. It's got these huge 40-degree slotted flaps, and about the first 20 degrees of flaps are lift, and the second 20 are just drag. And boy, do they provide a lot of lift and drag. When you deploy full flaps, it really alters the. Sometimes in some airplanes you put the flaps down, stall speed doesn't change much. This one, it changes a bunch. When you're loaded, the indicated speed at stall is typically, in about 59 when you're clean. When you lower the flaps, it's about 48. So it's a 11 knot difference in stall speed based on flap deployment. These ailerons they can really make this plane rock and roll. These, all the Van's models are known for having exceptionally responsive ailerons, and this one is no different. The roll rate is at least 90 degrees per second in this airplane, and that is incredibly fast for a 4-seat, going places, cross-country machine. Super bright LED strobes and nav lights, and these things are timed that they pulse together, and it really increases the visibility of this airplane. The tower can see you miles away. They definitely know you're coming. These wheel pants are huge, and you wonder, why are they that way? And the answer is because they are incredibly effective at eliminating drag. I once we were going to land the airplane at a muddy, dirty strip, so I removed the wheel pants and flew cross country, and the having the wheel pants gone decreased the speed of the airplane about 15 knots in cruise. So boy, these things they may look like they're kind of too big for the job. Why are they that big? Why are they that sort of rotund shape? But they look like a couple of big tadpoles out there on the wing, or out there on the landing gear, but they sure do work. Up front, this is a totally stock unmodified cowling, and the RVs are the RV-10s especially. They have a reputation for running pretty hot, You know, they were designed for anything between 180 and 260 horsepower. Everybody puts 260 horsepower. They create a lot of heat under the hood, but this one runs nice and cool. It's you do a nice sort of high power cruise climb at about 120 knots indicated, and these cylinder heads stay nice and cool. The cabin itself is 48 inches wide, so even with you're flying with your broad-shouldered friends, you won't be bumping into each other. It's really nicely, lots of space that way. And a new feature that we added in this airplane is this overhead ventilation system. So it's got vents overhead, and the air actually comes in through that scoop that you see in the end numbers, and it comes up and then down through the vents themselves. So the air kind of comes from the back of the plane and goes forward, but it's really comfortable on a warm day to have that overhead air circulation and ventilation. I'd been flying it in Florida recently when it was 90 degrees, which isn't hot for Florida, but it's hot for me, and it was really great having that overhead cooling system. So that's about it for the pre-flight. The airplane weighs about 1,650 pounds. It's got 1,050 pounds of useful load. We're going to be nice and light today. We've only got a little more than half tanks in the fuel compartment. So let's go flying, and I really want you to get the feel of this airplane that you've won. So this is a cold start. We're here on the ramp in Frederick, Maryland. We'll give it about 4 to 5 seconds of fuel pump. Throttle cracked. Here we go. Clear prop. Congratulations on winning the AOPA 2020 Sweepstakes RV-10. This is an absolutely fantastic airplane, which you will be proud to fly anywhere. It's as perfect as we could make it, and it's essentially complete. We've got a couple of small things we'd still like to do to it, but and we'd hope to show it to you at the AOPA fly-ins and lots of other big air shows around the country. For obvious reasons, that's not happening now, but it's in preparation for you taking it over full time. I'd like to show it to you now. Okay, so engine start. Everything is, temperatures and pressures are normal. Oil temperature, as you see down here, is obviously still warming up. We've got the standby dynon flight display, 2 primary flight displays, and the multifunction display in the middle. The brain of the operation is this Avidyne IFD 550, and it feeds the information to the rest of the system. So this is really the heart of the avionics system right here. We've got 40 gallons of fuel remaining, 60 gallons total. So 2/3 of a tank of gas. That's enough for about 3 to 3.5 hours of flying. We're not going to be up anywhere near that long. So the system already knows we're at Frederick. We'll put in MRB as our first place, and this has got this really slick geo system where it's like it knows, it's just got this logic built into it where normally if I type in MRB, other avionics systems would ask, do I mean the VOR in Brazil or the one 25 miles away? This one knows that it means that the logic in it just says, yeah, you must mean the one 25 miles away. And what we'll do is we'll hand fly on the way out there, and then we'll set up an instrument approach for the way back in. We'll be VFR west, and what we'll do is we'll just we'll climb to about 6,000 feet, 6,500. Just let the airplane accelerate, go nice and fast. We'll slow down once we get out there. We'll do some maneuvering, just to kind of show you the handling qualities of this RV-10.
Then we'll set it up to do an instrument approach on the way back, and show off some of the automation with this advanced system that we've got here. It's advanced is a little bit different. The displays are a little bit different, but once you understand the logic, you come to love these things as I have. Some of the generalities of the RV-10. You know, 4-seat airplane, kit built, licensed in the experimental amateur built category. Weighs about 1,650 pounds. It's got a roughly 1,050 pound useful load. Carries 60 gallons of avgas. Typically burns about 12 to 13 gallons per hour in cruise. So realistically, it gives us a nice. I think of it as pretty much of a 4-hour range with reserves, and I've flown it that far in some of its travels around the country. Really interesting airplane. It follows the Richard Van Grunsven's philosophy of total performance, which means that it does everything pretty darn well. Pretty decent speed, range, slow flight capability. It's not meant to be outstanding in any one area because he wants his airplanes to do well in all areas, and so and they also wants them to be really kind of sporty and predictable to fly. So it's got all push rod controls for the elevator and the ailerons, cable controls for the rudder, and the sort of exceptional numbers about the airplane are its speed ratio. It means that the difference between the airplane's stall speed, which is about 55 knots clean, to its top speed, it's almost 4 to 1, and that's exceptional. It's you think of other airplanes, a Cessna 152, 172, that's like 2.5 to 1. The reference the stall speed to the top speed. So this has got a broad speed range, an exceptionally versatile airplane. You can put 4 adults in it, full fuel, still carry some bags, and be under your max gross weight limit of 2,700 pounds. Okay, so we're ready to do our run-up. Engine gauges are in the green except for the oil temperature, which is coming up above 100. We'll go ahead and go through our checklist, which is on the PFD. With this takeoff, we're going to have a clean wing. We're going to take off at about, we'll make the nose light at about 50 miles an hour, and then we'll lift off the ground at about 60, and then we'll do a VY climb. And should be we're already have a clean wing, so we'll do a VY climb it's technically 90. We'll just climb out at 100, and we'll note the rate of climb, which is going to be sprightly today because we've got fairly light fuel and a lightweight inside.
Check fuel pressure.
One of the neat things about the Advanced Avionics is it's a small company, and when you hear alarms like we just heard for the fuel pressure being slightly high when I turned on the fuel pump. It's Rob Hickman. I believe that's either his wife or his daughter. It's either his wife Jen or his daughter, and you just whenever they remind me of something going on with the engine or something going on with the altitudes that we've set. It's kind of fun because it just reminds you of the people, and they are exceptionally wonderful people. All right. Rudder Tower, good afternoon. Experimental 260, Mike Golf. Ready for takeoff, runway 23.
Experimental 260, Mike Golf, Rudder Tower, runway 23, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 260, Mike Golf. All right, I'll just use all the runway here, and we'll make I want to show you the exceptional takeoff performance of this airplane. This is a clean wing, nothing terribly special as far as tricks that we're going to use to get off the ground quickly, but we'll be off the ground in about 600 feet. Here we go. Brake release, full power. Okay, airspeed's alive, 40 knots. And we're off the ground just past the 500-foot marker. Okay, there's 100 knots. About a 10 degree, 12 degree pitch attitude. Our climb rate 2,000 feet per minute. You see the color on the multi-function display shows that we're less than 1,000 feet AGL with the colors. You see the mountains up ahead are red, indicating less than 100 feet from our altitude. But you just watch them change color as we climb because they will not be that way for long. As you see, we get weather and traffic on the multi-function display. So, you know, in traffic, we got ADSB in and out. I can see the N number. A little bit of rain out to the west. We'll avoid that. And this center console is really pleasant. It's built by a company called Aerosport in Ohio, and they supplied it. And boy, it just really makes it so ergonomically nice. And you can rest your arm on the armrest and have your hand right on the throttle quadrant, which is super pleasant. Okay, we'll just follow this highway in the sky guidance that you see coming onto the primary flight display. And that's really it makes it sound sort of like a video game because I just put this green flight path marker in the middle of the box. And the flight path marker shows where the airplane is going. And as long as that flight path marker stays in the box, so will the airplane. It'll get there soon enough. Well, let's engage the autopilot as we accelerate.
Autopilot, engage.
I'll engage it in heading and nav mode. You know, we're at a high power setting, 25 inches, 25 squared basically, and the airplane is accelerating. You know, we're 154, 155 knots now, and it's really just kind of coming into its own. You know, true airspeed is 168 knots, and still climbing. You know, it's a deceptively fast airplane because you just wouldn't think. You know, a plane with the wheels down would be capable of going this fast because it's kind of, you know, it's like bonanza speed or Moody speed, and it's doing it with 3 wheels down there in the breeze. But you know, it just does it happily. 170 knots now, still accelerating. You know, this airplane seems to do best at the high altitudes. Its ceiling is 20,000 feet. Which just seems crazy for a normally aspirated airplane, but it really does well. I personally like flying at, you know, 10 to 12,000 feet, the sort of highest non-oxygen altitudes, and you know, I commonly get like a economy cruise of about 12 to 13 gallons an hour, and then also you know, nice. You know, pretty impressive speed for that, you know, fixed gear, mechanically simple airplane, because typically about 166, 168 knots. All right, so 172 knots. I'm going to go ahead and click off the autopilot. We'll hand fly.
Autopilot, disengage.
And then I'm going to let's just you know, an airplane or a maneuver that I always like to do in a new to me sort of airplane is there's a lazy 8, you know. So we'll just go ahead and set up for low cruise, and we'll do a lazy 8. So okay, I don't see anybody on the screen or with my own eyes, and so we're just going to do a nice gentle lazy 8 and just show the handling qualities of the airplane. And notice how little stick movement is required to get the airplane to move.
Altitude.
So you can just see that it's like, all right, so here we're coming through about 90 degrees of heading change. We've gained about 800 feet, no, more than almost 1,000 feet. I'll just let the nose come down now. Just keeping it nice and lazy, we'll roll out on a heading of east.
Altitude.
There's the L 4,500, which is where we began the maneuver, and we'll just go right back into another one. So this one will go to the right. I love the lazy 8 for a, you know, an unfamiliar airplane because it just lets you feel what the airplane is like. It gets you feel its personality as it goes through a series of its, it lets its speed changes and the angle of bank and the pitch attitude change. So here we are coming back up on a heading west.
Altitude.
Here's our 4,500 feet again. All right. Let's go ahead and we'll just do a little slow flight. Just get us headed back in the opposite direction. We'll slow the airplane down. I'll use a little G to do that. Okay, coming back to idle power. That flight path marker is just like cheating, because as long as I hold that green dot on the horizon, I know I'm not going to gain or lose any altitude. Okay, so the wing is clean, and I'm just going to slow us down. We're 90 knots, 80 knots, 75, 70. 65, 60, 59, feel a little rumble and shake at the stick fully aft, and you can see that it just sticks all the way back. It's showing 60 knots in. It's just in the buffet, but that wing just wants to keep on flying. It'll stall eventually, but you really got to convince it that that's what you want to do. Okay, I'm adding flaps now, and we'll see what how that changes the stall speed. It's got these here we are at 55 indicated, 53, 50. I'll wipe off the power, 46, 45, and there's the stall brake at about 45 knots indicated. And realize that that we're especially light today, so the stall speed is lower than it would be normally, but you can see that incredibly wide speed range and that just honest nature. We'll go ahead and load an approach for Frederick. So we'll pick out Frederick, direct to Frederick, and then we'll load a procedure.
Altitude.
So we know they're using runway 23. We just had information Victor a few minutes ago, and so we'll go ahead and we'll set up an approach to 23. So just hit procedure. Let's do the RNAV Zulu approach to 23. You can see Camp David on the screen there. We'll make sure to avoid that. And right now we'll just go ahead and we're in heading mode, auto and altitude selected 4,500, and we'll just go ahead and engage. Let the autopilot fly for now, and we'll just set up an approach to runway 23 at Frederick. But the automation in this airplane is really something, because it's very flexible. You can use as much or as little of it as you want, and sometimes with automation, I feel like the pilot and the boxes are kind of working at cross purposes. But in this, once you get familiar with the system, it's quite impressive what it can do. I'll go through my pre-landing checklist. Fuel boost pump is on, mixture prop. What I like about these
Altitude.
Just swipe and move the screens around. The touch screen there's really a lot of power in that. Okay, we're getting some bumps, and that shouldn't be surprising, because this wind arrow on the PFD is showing that the wind is 44 knots. We got a sort of crosswind at 44 knots out of the west, and when the wind comes over those hills, it really burbles sometimes. This is the airport diagram for Frederick. You can go ahead and select an approach here too. All right, so here a lot of pilots love this display here. It shows that huge approach plate and we're basically just flying right down to it. Also overlays traffic on the approach plate, which is pretty slick. All right, so that shows the minimums. We'll just call it 700 feet right now. So we'll just set the minimum at 700 for this approach. Okay, so the next waypoint is Gizgi, and we want to cross that at or above 2,800 according to the approach. So I'm going to go ahead and set the altitude to 2,800. Done. Now it's on its way down to 2,800, and we know that the next waypoint is called Shui, and Shui we want to be at 1,900. What I'll do is I'll let the automation intercept the localizer and fly the approach at first. I'll click it off at the final approach fix and hand fly the rest of the way, and then it just really gives you a good sense of the sophistication of this automation. Okay, we're going to activate the approach, and we'll put it in nav mode. Okay, just getting down to flap speed. Here we go. Intercepting the final approach course. Okay, nav mode. The nav, it's the autopilot is flying the airplane. We're intercepting the final approach course and coming downhill. The glide slope is alive. We're slightly below glide slope just as we intercept. Yes, undercarriage, mixture, and prop. Okay, pre-landing checklist is complete. All right, I said I'd let the automation. I'd fly it from the final approach fix, but the automation's doing such a nice job that I hate to interrupt. It's doing so well. Okay, we're right on the glide slope on speed. Okay, so we're just. I'm flying the airplane now. I'm slightly on speed, and what we'll do is we'll do just a normal landing out of this one. Okay, 500 above the ground. We're just flying the boxes now. We're right on the Bassey glide slope.
Minimums.
There's the minimums call. So it's like, okay, I've got the airplane and I'm flying it. And just follow through with me as we do this this first approach. 75 knots is about what I'd like to see coming over the threshold. We're 77 now, just a little bit slower to go. Yes, undercarriage mixture prop fuel pump is on. Okay, so the pre-landing checklist is pretty darn short.
Altitude.
75. Okay, on speed, and here we go. Just going to fly down to ground effect, wipe off the power, and then just hold back stick as we touch down. All right, here we go.
11019, Mansfield, bus down 123. 11019, number 2, following Scarborough, about a half-mile final, runway 23, clear for the option. Clear for the option, number 2, 11019, I have that traffic inside.
260 Mike Golf, midfield left downwind, 23 for the option.
0 Mike Golf, number 2, following Cessna, just turning on the fall, about final half-mile out, runway 23, clear for the option, make right close on the go.
Cleared for the option, number 2, right traffic next time, 260 Mike Golf. Okay, got the traffic in sight, and you can see them on the traffic alert as well. Okay, so here we are coming up on the base turn. We'll go ahead and 100 knots here. We'll slow it down some more.
5 out for 2 Kilo Alpha to the south.
All right, we'll fly a little slower on the approach this time. We'll slow it down to 70 knots on final. let's kind of point toward the numbers on this one. We'll make it like a short field approach.
Strive 14 Yankee, number 2 fallen aircraft, almost over the numbers, runway 23 cleared for the option.
14 Yankee, number 2, clear for the option.
I'm just being really gentle with the brakes, but you can see how you could easily stop it, and you know that's the 1,000-foot marker there. It'd be easy to stop it at 1,000 feet. You know, so short runways are just really not an issue in this airplane. I hope that gives you a good sort of overview of this incredible airplane you won. You know, it's the situational awareness provided by the synthetic vision, the traffic, the weather, the Avidyne brain. It's just remarkable, and it spoils you for anything else. Plus the carrying capacity of the airplane, the speed, the versatility. It's just and you know I overlook one important fact, and that is that it's just so much darn fun. And it's not just fun for you, the pilot. It's fun for your passengers, and they're just gonna love going places with you in this smooth, powerful, confidence-inspiring, beautifully designed, beautifully built, and lovingly cared for airplane. One last thing that I'll demonstrate on this sort of orientation flight is is just how well this airplane can turn on the ground. You know, tailwheel airplanes they can sort of pivot, turn on a dime. Well, so can this one. The free castering nose wheel just allows it to turn incredibly sharp, and it'd be nice to turn 180 degrees, but I'm not gonna blow the hanger. But I'm gonna do a 90-degree turn here, and just watch this thing turn here. We'll I won't completely lock up that wheel, but just look how it just turns on a dime. It's just really something else. And to turn things off, it's just
All right, well, welcome to your Sweepstakes 2020 RV-10. It's I hope you enjoy owning it as much as I've enjoyed taking it around to these events and watching it get turned from a sort of caterpillar into a butterfly. It's been a very rewarding process, and I think you'll find it much more rewarding even than I did. Congratulations.